Hey gang, Imaginarium, Dr. G. I'm back. Mysteries of the Psyche. So I got a note from one of my viewers, and I thought I would share this from someone named Dorian. Dorian attended the lecture that I gave down in New Orleans not too long ago, and just to summarize the question that arose, we were talking about how symptoms are nature's attempt at healing. This is a Jungian idea. And the way Jung puts it in his work is that if you look at symptoms like depression or anxiety or who knows what, as in an entirely reductive light, then you may figure out where it comes from, but you may not know what else to do with it. Now, it is important to know where it comes from. That's very useful information. But he also thought that it's a good idea to look at what are these symptoms aiming at, or what are they trying to accomplish. He used Aristotle's terminology in terms of final causation here. We can get into all of that in another video, maybe if you want. But long story short, he's asking the psyche is producing these symptoms for a purpose, and it's a very good question to ask. What is that purpose? So Dorian really liked that and had a question about the transcendent function. So I thought I'd give a couple of words here about the transcendent function. Just to kind of give you all a taste of what it's all about. And what he's asking here is the transcendent function more of a shifting orientation toward the unconscious rather than a complete symptom-free solution? And is that the case, or does the transcendent function more allow us to live with our symptoms a little bit better rather than maybe cure us of the symptoms? Okay, this is a really good question. And it gets the question really is about what is asking asking what is the transcendent function in general, and what does it do? So Jung defined the transcendent function in a lot of different ways. Some of them a little more abstruse than others. I think you can really boil it down to this: the transcendent function is a function of the psyche. It's essentially, you can call it a homeostatic mechanism. It's the psyche is trying to achieve a state of wellness, and it's trying to help you, the conscious ego, thrive, survive, pass on the genes, right? Because the origin of this comes from the genome itself. Now, if you object to the idea that the genome is wanting you to survive and thrive and to reproduce, well, too bad. It's just a really easy way to look at this, to think of the genome as having an intentionality behind it. I think it actually does. That's actually kind of a sticky philosophical issue, and I don't want to get into that. Nevertheless, that's how we're going to talk on this channel, because this is my house. So, a long story short, the genome evolution has made it to such a state now that after billions of years, those genomes that did not aim towards thriving and surviving and reproducing and so forth are all gone, and we're the ones left. So there's a very strong selection pressure within the genome to try to adapt the best that it can in terms of your own survival. So what does that mean? Well, it means that when you have symptoms, it very often can be exactly what we were talking about, a sign that something needs to be attended to. Symptoms can arise due to unmet needs at the biological, psychological, or social level. They can arise due to inner conflicts. They can arise due to challenges in the expression of emotion, given that we are a highly social animal and that we have a strong pressure to share our feelings with each other. If that is thwarted, sometimes symptoms can arise. Now, the question here is, does the transcendent function cure things for us? And no, that's not the case. Rather, what it's doing is it's always trying to cobble together a solution to whatever our problems are in the moment. You can see this day to day in real time, actually. It's not this sort of abstract philosophical idea that's way out in the clouds somewhere. You can see this actively doing its thing every single day, and in the form of spontaneous thoughts. This is something I've talked about in other lectures and other videos. But spontaneous thoughts are those thoughts that emerge in your mind unbidden. In other words, you're not deliberately thinking about or trying to imagine a particular thing. Rather, those are willed thoughts. Rather, spontaneous thoughts are those that just bubble up into your awareness, seemingly out of nowhere. And a large amount of literature now suggests that that stuff is aiming towards helping you solve your problems, plan for the future, deal with your emotional challenges, all of this kind of stuff. And it's working all the time. Dreams are another great big version of this. They're an intensified form of spontaneous thinking, in fact. So you'll be able to see a whole lot more of this when a new article that I've just published comes out in Behavioral Sciences. I talk a whole lot about this, and I'll be keeping you updated. Make sure you visit my website, ericgoodwyn.com, get on the newsletter, and then you'll be able to get firsthand lay eyes on that as soon as it comes out. But this is where I think the nuance comes in. It's not so much that the ego needs to orient toward the unconscious as a function, as a part of the transcendent function. That's not really exactly what's going on. It's more that if you attend to the unconscious in the sense that you're looking more at your inner states, you're paying more attention to your feelings and your spontaneous thoughts, then that means the ego can get in on this action. It can participate in this. It's kind of like if you're injured, your body will kick in all of its natural healing mechanisms to try and heal the wound. Well, the ego can also either help or hinder that process. You can help it by not re-injuring the damaged area. You can go find medicines. You can try to rest. You can try to do physical therapy exercises. Same kind of thing when it comes to the psyche. Same idea. If you have traumas, if you have challenges, if you have inner conflicts, and you don't pay any attention to them, the transcendent function will still try to help you cobble together a solution. It'll still work in the background because it's always there. Nevertheless, psychotherapy helps us take advantage of this process and helps to enhance it and help it work better by focusing our attention inwardly and allowing us to take better care of ourselves. So that's the transcendent function in brief. And make sure you like and share and subscribe and all that stuff to stay on top of this, because I'm going to be talking about it more and more as we go. I think it's this idea that symptoms should be viewed as signals. I think Jung developed this to the greatest level of the early psychoanalysts, but more modern theories and types of psychodynamic therapy have all independently kind of come across this. The psychosystems analysis in particular really, I think, develops this to a very advanced degree in its idea of the genomic self that Stephen Richards developed way back in the 90s. And I think he was spot on with it. And it's essentially that the self and the transcendent function and all of this homeostatic stuff is coming straight from the genome. It's not something that you need to trace back to early experiences or any of that sort of stuff. It's already there. The question is, are you going to access it? Are you going to use it? Are you going to try to help it? Or are you going to blunder along obliviously? Because the ego, that's part of the strength and weakness of the ego. It has free will. It can focus on practically anything, which gives us tremendous flexibility. Remember, the ego evolved also along with all this other stuff because it's helpful. And just like everything else, it's a trade-off. And the trade-off is, with this tremendous level of flexibility and ability to learn, it can also go astray and waste all kinds of time doing stuff that's not helpful. Nevertheless, if you rather use this advanced flexibility and cognitive power to enhance what's already there, what the genome is trying to accomplish, you'll do much better. So, see you next time, gang.